The next section that we're going to talk about is called mods. This is our first video in mods, and there are a bunch of them, so make sure you check them all out. This one's just our introduction, and it will cover clock arithmetic. So mods are really a shortened word for modular arithmetic. So you'll hear me say mods all the time, but if you were to ever look it up online, mods probably won't come up with what you're looking for by itself. So you want to look for modular arithmetic. Mods have tons of applications. So they are used for credit card verification. There's something called a check digit, and we will talk about that later. Also, airline tickets have a check digit that uses mods. And then a lot of internet security, so the encryption that they use has a mods built into it. It is used for other things as well, but those are just things that I think grab your attention and think that these are things that are used every day, and we just don't even know that they're out there. So the easiest way to start our discussion is to talk about telling time. So let's talk about military time. So what we in the United States call military time is just normal time to the vast majority of the world. The convention of using AM and PM is most commonplace in English-speaking countries. The rest of the world just tells time using a 24-hour day. I spent about 4 months in Brazil in 2016. It was very common to be invited to dinner to meet people at 19, right? So at 19 for dinner, which is just our 7 o'clock, people always talked in this other convention of 24 hours in a day. So they say, let's meet at 13 o'clock to have lunch, which means 1 o'clock, or 19 o'clock for dinner. But let's say in Brazil, that's really early. Restaurants just start opening for dinner at 7 o'clock, but as Americans, we're used to eating a little bit early. So you had to always make sure you thought about what time are they saying. All right, so what is military time? Military time means the day starts at 0, and then it ends at 23:59. So there's our 24 hours in the day. So what we call 12 a.m. is really 0. What we call 4 p.m. is 16 o'clock. Our 10 p.m. is 22. If you know military time, they usually say like 2200 hours. It just depends on what convention you're looking at. I would also say hospitals, doctors use this 24-hour clock so that it's very clear what time things have happened, what time they had an appointment, what time they came by to look at a patient, or when they got results. So it isn't just the military that uses this time. What we see is the difference between military time and the 24-hour clock is the number 12. So these two things, the military time, 24-hour clock meaning the same thing, have a just difference of 12 to the 12-hour clock. So when an hour in military time is less than 12 or equal to 12, we just read it the same. So if I said 4 a.m., that's the same as just 4 o'clock. If I said 7 a.m., that's the same thing as 7 o'clock. But when an hour gets to be greater than 12, then we need to subtract to convert to a 12-hour time. So let's just use some easy examples. So if we said 17 o'clock, that's really 17 minus 12, 5 o'clock, our time. 2 would mean 2 a.m., so that 2, because it's less than 12, nothing happens. 15 o'clock, well, that's greater than 12, so 15 minus 12 would be 3 o'clock. 21, again, greater than 12, so I say 21 minus 12 is 9, so this would be 9 p.m. 4:30, just to throw some numbers in besides right on the hour. 4:30 stays at 4:30, that would be 4:30 a.m. in our time. 16:30, well, this again is 4:30, but because it's after the 12, then I know that's 4:30 p.m. So you can see 4:30 a.m. would be 4:30, but 4:30 p.m. would be 16:30, so that we can tell the difference without using the AM-PM convention. All right, so changing from 24-hour time to 12-hour time is similar to finding a number mod 12. So here's where I want to introduce this definition of mod. So take it really slow because this is completely new. A mod B, this is how I'm going to say it. So A mod B is the remainder if you divide A by B. Okay, so look at this. 20 mod 12 is 8. Remember how we talked about 2000 hours? What time would it be? It would be 8 p.m. It's not because I divided 20 by 12, right? That's not where the 8 came from. 12 doesn't go into 28 times, but it's the remainder. If I converted and divided, so if I did 20 divided by 12, I would get 1, but I would have a remainder of 8. And when I'm doing mods, the only thing I care about is the remainder. So I'm not trying to do division. If I want to do division, I would say divide, but I'm not saying divide, I'm saying mod. So watch for that. Mod means remainder. Okay, so back again. 20 mod 12 is 8. What's the remainder? 20 minus 12 is 8. When I'm looking at military time, it's usually just subtract 12, nothing funky going on. You don't have to think any harder than that. All right, so let's do 13 mod 12. It's 1. 13 minus 12 is 1. 23 mod 12. 23 minus 12 is 11. I'm just looking at my remainder. And actually, in subtraction, we call the answer a remainder also. So don't be thinking, oh, I've added a new term. We're just talking about it different. Look at 18 mod 12. It's 6. So I did 18 minus 12 is 6. If the number is smaller than 12, so see how I have 7? 7 mod 12, it's just 7. Nothing happens. So you only subtract if I'm at a number bigger than the mod. If it's less than the mod, leave it alone. Okay. And applications. So let's check some easy applications. Say you have a terrible headache. Hopefully it's not from doing math. And you take some pain medication that can only be taken every 6 hours. So say you take the medication at 8 a.m., when can you take it again? Well, so I have to go 6 hours later. So from 8, I add 6, I get 14. Well, 14, we don't talk in 1400 hours. So I say 14 mod 12 would be 2, and we could take the pain medication at 2 p.m. Same thing. Say we're working an 8-hour shift and we start at 10 p.m. What time will we get off of work? Okay, so I look at 8, I add 10, so there's 18. But, again, we don't talk in that kind of time, so I did 18 mod 12, and that's 6. This means I get off work at 6 a.m. Notice I kept track of this shift started at 10 p.m., so when I added the 8, it put me into a.m., so you have to just keep track of what you're doing. All right, so that's the end of the beginning, just to get you to the idea of what does mod mean. It means when I go over a number, I subtract to get a smaller number again. So check out the next video to just learn more about